Welcome to today's Tech Coffee Break, everyone. The Innovation Technology Team's purpose is to increase the use of innovative tools and techniques in the NDSU Extension Service for learning and programming. If you have any ideas for other ways the innovation team can help you increase your use of innovation tools and techniques for learning, please contact one of us. Now I can't remember if I said who I was. This is Carol Hadlick with Grand Forks County. I'll be just your host today for recording the session. Please feel free to jump into the conversation, use the chat box. You can share your screen, and don't be afraid to speak up because we're looking for your comments. I threw out an optional topic on the email. How is your office working differently to educate and facilitate our customers in the transition from paper mailings to communicating and accessing information electronically through extension? We here in Grand Forks County, we have numerous newsletters. We have Ag Alert, Focus on Farming, 4-H newsletter, and we also have numerous mailings, 4-H fair packets, 4-H horse project, and 4-H enrollment package. All of that information is available electronically, and we're just looking for ways to invite people to look at that information electronically, and we're just wondering, what are you guys doing? Anybody even putting their information out electronically? I went out to Cass County's website, and they have, I basically went to their 4-H website, and they have a really nice website that has their information on there electronically. And just wondering what you guys are doing.
Carol, this is Dean. I was going to just share that, we've gotten so into using like Facebook and 4-H online, and we do a lot of blasting information at people and doing less newsletters. So we're making better use of electronic sharing.
We actually, here in Grand Forks, had a meeting with Kelly Armbruster about this very topic, and she gave us some ideas where we would gather everyone's information in a database where we could send things out electronically, maybe be a little more efficient who we are sending things out to. And that session was very helpful. I recommend if you guys have any questions about what you could be doing or should be doing, contact Kelly because she's very knowledgeable in that field. Anybody else? What are you guys doing? How do you send your newsletters out? Okay, Linda Schuster. Greg Endries has transitioned to only press releases and email blasts related to registrations for advanced crop advisors workshops and crop management field school. I have a lot of old and returned emails, but the folks who are serious about these classes contact me to make certain I have a current address for them. We actually have given people the option. We sent out a newsletter and say, if you want us to send this electronically, this is how you do it. If you want us to send it, to mail it to you, you have to pay $10 or whatever. And most of them want to pay to get the paper copy.
Most of them do want to pay to get the paper copy, did you say?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh. Interesting. This is Joe. I'll acknowledge my ignorance. What is an email blast? What's a blast?
I see that Linda is typing like a listserv, only I keep the list. And I believe, and Mike might want to jump in here, Mike Knutson might want to jump in here. I do know that our office subscribes to, or subscribed in the past, to a service where you could send out texts to a massive amount of people. And that would be considered a blast.
Okay. How effective was that?
I'm not sure, because I'm not in the ag department. I do 4-H and so on, so that would be Mike Knutson and Willie Hewitt. That would be more knowledgeable than I do on the effectiveness. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, Joe, like an email blast or text blast is just a mass electronic communication that you send out on, one topic, like in Linda's case, the workshops. In our case, we do it for our plot tour. And I think there's mixed success. We, as far as ag agents in Grand Forks County, aren't, and we talked about this with Kelly, being consistent with how we use this stuff. And that's something we're continuing to work towards. And then with the Ag Alert that Carol mentioned, most people do want to pay the $10 to receive it by mail all summer. But I just started that last year, really pushing people to receive it via email. And we are slowly increasing and having to mail out less. But it's a process.
Okay, thanks. I figured that's what it was, but I just wanted to make sure.
This is Becky, and I'm just curious, is newsletter even the right word anymore? Newsletter to me means you save up all of this stuff and send it out on a regular schedule, especially, Michael, with summer stuff. If a bug hits now, you need to get it out now and not wait till the first of the month or whatever and get it out. So do we need to change our thinking and do it more like crop and pest report, where things are loaded up as soon as it hits?
Yeah, that's a good point, Becky, and that's really essentially what we're doing. Our ag alerts coincide with the crop and pest report, so they're weekly, and I'm encouraging folks that receive them to provide us emails so we can get them to them electronically, which is a day faster than the mail. But this is where our social media comes into play too, where for example, the insect situation, if it's something that needs to get out, we'll put it on our weekly ag alert, but we also will be putting it on our Facebook page, and a lot of times, in reference to, again, the work we're trying to do as far as develop a email database in different program areas for our office. I currently manage 2 listservs of producers that I work with, and when things like that come up, I send them an email, or you could call it an email blast, to give them a heads up. And from what I hear, I think guys appreciate that. So.
Anybody else have any ideas or want to let us know how you're doing it, or how you think we could do it in reaching people without mailing hundreds of pieces of paper out?
This is Amelia. The only thing we mail out for 4-H is they get their Achievement Day forms in the mail, and they get a reminder at the beginning of the year when council meetings are. Everything else is done electronically, and we actually stopped doing it for a few weeks to see if anyone would notice because it seemed like nobody was reading them. We brought it up at a council meeting, and they were all like, I thought I did something wrong with my email, and I didn't want to say anything. So I was just waiting for you to start sending them again. So they definitely were reading it. We just didn't hear anything back from them that they weren't.
Okay, so you've had success. We have some resistance among some of our most of our families where they would prefer to get things in the mail versus electronically.
Honestly, when we send stuff in the mail, we have to stamp it with a big 4-H clover or it gets thrown away. And people say, well, I never received that. And so we found that if we, like when we mail our Achievement Day forms, we have a big green 4-leaf clover stamp we stamp on the envelope, and that's kind of their note, like, hey, pay attention to this, it's something important.
And we do the same as well. We put the 4-H logo on our packets, and actually I put a label on there that says horse project packet or fair packet, so like you, so that they don't get thrown into file 13.
This is Becky, and I'm thinking of back when I was a 4-H leader. If you mail this hard copy, does that mean I have to fill it out by hand? Because I would much rather prefer to go online and quick type it and I'm done.
We're working on making our forms electronic. When I started, we made our registration for all of our judges electronic, and that's gone very smoothly. And so we're working on making registration for Achievement Days electronic. We just haven't worked all of the kinks yet to be able to roll it out to 4-Hers.
Is that like
our forms have been electronic online fill-in forms for several years now. No interest.
Ours are available online, they just aren't fill-in.
They're fill-in. Okay. Ours are fill-in. All you have to do is open it up, fill it in, save it, email it, print it. Anybody else have anything on this topic that they want to share? How about different?
Yeah, what about some of the other counties? I'm curious now.
Don, what do you do? No answer. Anybody else out there want to share what you guys do?
I'm sorry, Carol, I had my microphone muted. We kind of do the mailings too. We haven't had very good luck with the other types.
I think this is interesting, and just the topic, addresses kind of how we communicate with our communities in Extension. But also, like to Becky's comment, a lot of us feel like it'd be so much easier to just pull something up online and be able to type it in instead of fill it out by hand. Yet, a year ago when I stepped in,
We lost you, Mike. Okay.
I agree with Michael. It seems like it would be easier just to pull it up, or I think even Becky said to just fill it up, pull up a form and fill it out online and send it back in. But we have a lot of people in our rural areas that they don't use the technology all the time, and so it isn't that easy for them to figure out some of the programs or just to know what to do. They're just kind of lost with it.
And I believe that it used to be the dial-up was the problem. You know, slow internet. Many families didn't have internet. But more and more families are subscribing to an internet service, and it's fast, easy to use. I have, myself, I have a lot of paperwork that I receive electronically. I don't get it in the mail anymore. It's wonderful. And Becky typed in for 4-H, the kids could figure out, oh yeah, the kids actually do a lot of it. It's great.
We do have an area south of town here. They don't even have internet access yet. So they're just where they're at. They can't even get it.
So those of you who do electronic for achievement days, how do you have your leaders sign off on those registration forms? Because like our leaders have to sign off on every kid's registration form saying they've met the requirements to show. So do you not do that when you have them electronic?
Do you want to ask your question again, Amelia, please?
For those of you who do Achievement Day forms electronically, do you no longer have leaders sign your forms, or did you never do that? Because we've always had the leader has to sign the form saying they've met the requirements of being able to show at Achievement Days.
I'm kind of confused by that question because I'm thinking for state fair, you have to have signatures. And I kind of think there's still a place for the leader to, shoot, there's so many ways around that anymore that I can't see that even being a big stumbling block, because you could take it and sign it and take a picture of it and email it even. You know,
right, but
I
if
don't.
you're filling it out all online, and then are you printing it, have the leader sign it, and then scanning it or taking a picture of it?
Yeah, I can't have. We still do the forms where like we mail out prior to achievement days. They have to fill them out and return them to us. State fair, we're a little bit different. I mean, I think to electronic stuff, at least to get them to us, because they're at the 4-H office.
But you know,
we need to try more
kids,
though.
The kids can fill in the form online, print it out, and give it to their leader to sign.
So it's not 100% online. There's still that paper that's being printed and mailed from either us or to us.
Right. But there's electronic signatures too, and I'm sure there's ways of filling out the form and clicking a button and it'll go to the leader. They can electronically sign it. They click another button and it'll come to our spreadsheet or whatever. I don't know. That would be something to figure out. But
this is Becky. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Why do you need that signature? Why do you need a club leader signature?
I was just going to ask Dean, because quite honestly, those kids are doing their projects individually at home. And I, as a club leader, I couldn't speak to what everybody's been doing at home. So I don't even think it's necessary. Is it, Dean?
I would. Well, I'm not going to say yes or no. That's a local decision. The program's a local program. But you know, that's one of the things we've wrestled with. You know, many times with the online state fair registration, or at least within the livestock end of it, and the signature there more or less signified that, you know, this was a legitimate project. You know, more so than they met some other requirements, but rather that the agent had knowledge and approval of it. So. You know, that was the purpose for that, but we've wrestled back and forth, and even this year when the state fair is going to a little different system, and again encouraging all that online stuff, our hope is, because the registration date is far enough ahead of the actual state fair is that we're going to be able to actually get a report and send back to each county and says, here's what's coming from your livestock wise from yours. The static exhibits we haven't had any issue, and because the counties are sending them in already as a county database, so they've already quote approved that participation. But that it's more or less is this legit in terms of are they signed up for this project, taking this project and doing that part of it. Now, as far as how the leader monitors that, that's really individual county differences.
And to answer your question, Becky, in our county, the leaders aren't just necessarily signing off that the kid did the project, but more that they've met the requirements to exhibit. So they've attended at least 6 4-H events over the course of the year, and they've paid their dues and are enrolled in 4-H online.
Wouldn't you have if they paid their dues and are in 4-H online in the county office, though?
We do, but we don't know if they've gone to 6 meetings or not. We can look that up, but when you have almost 300 members who are exhibiting, it becomes and we do double check it, because if they're not enrolled in 4-H online, then they can't exhibit. But it's kind of a way to hold those leaders accountable for their club as well.
And I was just going to say, instead of individually having every member do that, we have every club leader fill out a report. So 300 individual members, you'll have 15, 20 different clubs. I mean, I'm just guessing, but those 20 people will get a paper copy where they say participant is enrolled in 4-H online but does not meet the requirements. So it would still save a lot of postage.
Any other comments? Anybody have a different topic you want to bring up today? Anything bugging you, or you're wondering about, or you don't know how to do, or you'd like to learn how to do, or actually have you learned something that we would be interested in learning?
This is Joe. On a related note of working with our clients, how much online meeting time do you spend meeting online with your clients, either around the county or for any specialists out there at state level, or meeting with folks online? I'm just curious. We'll see if I get any response to that.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
So to answer your question,
You're gone again, Mike.
Well, while Mike's on the way, my clients are the county staff as the dean, and I get every once in a while. I mean, it's not a lot, but I bet you every week I talk to somebody through this kind of a system, just because they either preferred it over the just the phone call, or wanted to see something in which I was able to bring up on a screen.
Katie has typed in the chat box, I have never met with a producer online. I do communicate via email and Facebook.
Oh, Mike's typing now. Okay.
All right. Same here, says Mike Knudsen.
All right. I was curious because the group of city foresters around North Dakota, there's about 8 or 10 of them, that I've been meeting online with them about once a month, maybe once every other month, for several years. And it took quite a while to get everybody used to the idea of meeting online. But now, boy, everybody's old hands at technology and has no problems with it. and they like it because they still get interaction even though they're all the way around, all scattered around the state. So, yeah, and Dean, you're working with the county agents or the county staff, and they because they're associated with NDSU, generally they've got some pretty decent technology and some training with it. So I was just wondering, it's taken me a while to get everybody used to the technology, but it's great.
Lisa Peterson wrote a note. Joe, I have had some pretty interesting experiences here in the past month or so with meeting with producers online. And I'm wondering, Lisa, is your mic working? We'd love to hear some of those experiences.
Didn't want to butt in when somebody else is talking.
This is an open conversation.
Please.
So I've had, the first of my experiences is developing a poster for a poster session at a national meeting with a colleague in West Virginia using Skype for Business here. And it worked fantastically well. And we've actually now developed a PowerPoint presentation with some other colleagues around the country, and we've all talked about how great it is. And I will tell you, getting everybody online with the technology, though, is the hardest part, and making sure all the pieces and parts work. But on the producer side, like Katie, sometimes I can hardly escape producers because of Facebook. And if they know that you're a Facebook user, pretty soon they will start asking you a million questions on Facebook, which is fine. But sometimes it's a little hard to get away from that. And I think if that's going to continue, we probably have to have some discussion with agents on how to manage your work-life balance, because they will be there at all hours of the day, and they almost demand a little bit of immediacy, I think is the word, that they want an answer right now from you, whether you're really online or not. But in the last month, and actually the first of these calls came at our A&R program planning leaders meeting, Joe, after that, a guy sent me a message and asked, or he called here, and he asked if I could help him with a calving issue. He had a cow that was calving, and his vet was clear out a long ways from the clinic, and so he was wondering if I could help him. And he had been to a calving clinic that we had put on, and I said, well, I'll sure try. I said, can you just take some pictures of the cow and email them to me, or, whatever the story is. And he said, well, even better, we have barn cameras in our barn. I'll just give you the IP address and you can type it in and zoom in and you can see what's going on with this cow. And it worked wonderfully. And, we have barn cameras in our own barn, and I'd never even thought about it. And so I was able to help him out and got the calf delivered, and things were fine. And not even a week later, I got a call from another producer. Actually, it was a Facebook post from him wanting to know if I could help him. And as far as I know, there was no relationship between these guys that they would know that they could do this. And he was telling me, and I said, well, can you send me a picture or something, take a video and email it to me or whatever the story is? And he said, well, why don't we use this video thing on Facebook, and I'll just put my camera up and you can watch what's going on. And as it turns out, this cow had triplets, and I could kind of figure that out because the legs are all messed up, as you could see them. And he got her into the vet clinic, and they did a C-section, and all the triplets lived. So it's been interesting, and I often wonder if we shouldn't think about this potentially in disease outbreak situations or in disease situations with producers in fields and that kind of thing. I don't know. Dr. Stuck and I have really been talking about if it's a way we can optimize time for veterinarians and help them maybe do a little bit of triage on things that they see at their clinics. Anyway, and Dina, you said, could you direct them to a county page or something along that line, or a specialist page? And I have done that. Most of them are kind of BQA related questions, so and people that I probably consider friends, to be honest. Anyway, that's my interesting story on quote-unquote online meeting via video.
Okay, but before you get off the subject, I'm sorry, I was trying to type so I wouldn't just ramble, but I want to know about these barn cameras and where can I get them?
Well, I know for a fact that Beck Communications sets up barn cameras, and I don't know, like in your area, maybe West Riv Telecom does that, Dina. I don't know. I'm one of these people that we have horrible internet at our house, and so we have a special situation. But ask around. I'm sure somebody in your area has barn cameras.
I've never even heard of it, but thanks, because you might have just saved me a lot of stress. And it's totally personal.
That's some great stories, Lisa. That's
And
awesome.
I see that Becky says I could have a separate BQA page, and I could, but I still think that the producers in our online get immediate information world want some immediacy or some immediate reply, whether it's your own personal page or your work page or whatever else. And I don't know how you manage that. I'm a workaholic, so it doesn't much matter to me, but either I work for them, I work for my husband, so it doesn't much matter.
But if it's a page you manage, Lisa, it would show up just like it does on your page, because I have like clubs that I manage their information. And if somebody comments or poses a question, I see it just as quick as I would in my own. But when I reply, it's not coming from me necessarily. It is yourself separate from your work.
And you can set up an auto reply too. You know, when you're on off hours and not available, there's an auto reply feature on Facebook where it can say, you know, Lisa, I'm not at work right now, please, whatever. But if you don't want to respond right away when you're not working.
And to me personally, it doesn't much matter. I'm good with it. But, you know, for some of our agents, they might not be. And I didn't know about the auto reply thing, so it might be good for them to know that.
Now, Lisa, I assume this is these examples are the exception, not the rule.
What do you mean, Joe?
In terms of how people contact you and how you communicate with them.
Well, I've never done anything with helping guys calve out cows via video before, so I think they're an exception. But I think it's a way that we could do some things to help producers. And if we were in potentially a pretty bad biosecurity position, like, you know, this guy whose cow had triplets, I could have gone to his place. He's in Morton County. I could have called Jackie and said, hey, let's go down there. But I also happen to know the guy has scours pretty bad on his place most of the time, so I didn't want to go down there for that reason. And so doing the thing over video saved me exposing my own herd and other herds to his animal health issue. Although I really would have loved to see and handled triplets. That would have been really cool. But the biosecurity side, I think this is a really positive thing. But getting questions on Facebook is not unusual. I would be surprised if I get less than 10 a day, lots of days.
I think that's a great story about the use of the technology. I think you should write up a few paragraphs and post that online.
Oh my gosh, I've never stopped them, because now these guys have figured out that they can, you know, it's so funny. This guy says to me, well, we've got this video thing on my phone. That's how I talk to my kids in college. And so I've never done a Facebook video. And it was kind of actually embarrassing that I didn't hardly even know what he was talking about. Here's a guy that's close to 70 that has better technology skills than I do, to be honest. But thanks. I might type it up. We'll see. Dr. Stuck and I are thinking about actually doing a little bit of a survey and maybe looking deeper into it to the amount of use amongst producers.
If your story is shared even throughout just our extension, it might be helpful to others, and they might be able to use your information to help themselves too. I think sharing your story would be just awesome, Lisa. Please do.
Thank you.
Boy, I don't know if anybody can top that story, but anybody else have anything to share on how technology has been used in your county?
I want to ask a question, and I figured before I even got on here today, this would be the group to ask. Have you ever watched people video using their phones, and they video not the way Becky's taught us, but, you know, vertical instead of horizontal? And then you go back, and I'm sure it's happened to all of us at least once. What do you guys do when you want to use that video and you need to rotate it? I want to know. I found a way, but I want to know if anybody has a quicker, easier way. Really? I'm the only one who's ever made that mistake.
Dina, how are you using it?
Okay, if like I've taken video on my phone, of course I do. Like, say for instance, just the other day we were doing an egg in the classroom project, and we use phones to take video, and I want to share the video at my legislative update. And oh, Becky, vertical, a different way. But I thought, man, some of these young folks on here, I just know they're so tech savvy, they probably found a really easy way to do it. But I just want to be able to put it like in Movie Maker to make a short, pull some clips together to tell a story.
Okay, because I was going to say, I think on Facebook there's a place you can rotate it, but I don't know about Movie Maker. I do know you don't dare post them on Facebook if you've taken them, because Becky will scold you.
I'm going to go look at this vertical video syndrome and just see, but I found out with some of the video editing software I use, I was able to do that pan and rotate and just flip it right away, and that worked. But I'm thinking not everybody I know has that software, so I was just curious.
Great question.
Okay,
Dina.
I'm confused. So you shot it vertically, but you want to show it horizontally, and that's possible?
Yes, Becky, so it's shot vertically, and it's not necessarily that I did, but I want to pull several of them together, so I want to use Movie Maker. But when you bring them in, then they're flipped. You know what I mean? It's when you video with your phone, and I'm not really explaining this well, but when you video with your phone, you're looking at your phone upright. But when you take that video and put it into, say, Movie Maker, it's sideways, or like it wasn't videoed horizontal. I don't know how to tell you without showing you what I mean, but
So does it cut off any of the movie, the picture?
well, it's just totally sideways, like your audience would have to turn their head sideways.
Ooh.
You have to physically video, when you use your phone, the direction of a TV monitor or a computer monitor, and not the way you'd normally hold your phone to put it up to your ear. Do you know what I mean? But we take pictures so of us with it the tall way instead of the wide way, that I think that just becomes habit for people. Maybe not making sense to everyone, and I've not noticed it as much that it matters when I want to put it on Facebook, but when I want to pull it into a Movie Maker kind of program, like say you want to slow motion something or add a title, you know what I mean? It has to be brought into something else. I got you all confused now, though, don't I?
Dina, I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think
if it's people videoing and they're doing, you know, turn it. Because you can tell on Facebook, too, there's a lot of black edge on a video if people have done that the wrong direction. It doesn't fill the screen, so to speak.
I put a link in there. If this YouTube video that I put in the chat pod, Dina, is for an app. And I think somebody I know has that app. because I
Okay.
think they were telling me about it, but it looks pretty cool, and I think it's free.
Okay, I'm going to go look at that one too, and I'll look at the one that Becky shared also. I only brought it up today because I have other people oftentimes videoing for me. If, like, say it's something I'm teaching, and not everyone knows to turn that, and it's not always convenient to stop when you're teaching and say, hey, if you're videoing me, can you turn that camera or your phone the other direction?
Dina, I have another option for you too, maybe. As I look here online, there's a Windows Media one here.
Okay.
And it talks about using Windows Movie Maker Live or whatever, Windows Live Movie Maker. This one might work too.
Becky, your comment is the greatest. The link that you shared says shoot horizontally to begin with. And yes, I do always try to remember that. And now I think I've gotten caught myself so many times, I don't usually forget. But a lot of other people don't know. And the place we're going to see video, especially when we're shooting or taking video in extension work, isn't necessarily going to be from one phone to another. It's going to be pulled into some other kind of video software to edit. Anyway, it was just an issue that's come about, and with all this talk about doing things more electronically, I thought it'd be good discussion to have with this group.
Great discussion, and thanks everyone for those links. I'm looking forward to clicking into them. Any other topic, anyone? And Becky would like to hear more examples of how you're shooting and using video. Anybody have anything else that they want to? I do want to give a shout out to Amelia for the Use Your Voice article in AgCom. I put the link in there. That is really cool. If anybody hasn't read it yet, you should go there. Any other topics today? Dina, I was collecting video to share programming at Legislative Update. Boy, it's been a great discussion today. This is just amazing. Anybody else? We'd love to hear your stories. Well, I think I'm going to put in a little plug for Wednesday's webinar for the Center for Community Vitality. I just put it into the chat box there. We'll wrap it up today. Becky says I need to download Sean's video for you, Dina. Couldn't figure out why my phone was full, then remembered. Yeah, videos take up a lot of room on phones, way more than photographs. Anybody have anything else before we wrap it up today?
This is Kelly Armbruster, and I'll just put in a quick plug for our AgCom webinar that's always the third Wednesday of the month at 3 p.m. And it's actually going to be talking about some of the things we talked about today. Scott Swanson and Bruce Sundin, our media technology specialists, are going to be talking about some of the new technology that AgCom has available for checkout, and then also doing some other video type things. I don't know their exact agenda, but please join us on the third Wednesday of the month at 3 p.m. for the AgCom monthly webinar.
Thank you, Kelly. Good reminder. Great sessions. I've loved every single one of them. Well, this has just been a very productive meeting. I appreciate everyone coming to the session. We'll see you on June 6th. Same time, same place. Look for your email. Thanks, everybody. This was awesome. Have a great day.